Today's Seven Deadly Sins release day one. I'm excited. It was pretty amazing to watch what was going on this whole week with people getting their pre orders, opening it, conversations about what was inside of it. So, today I am going to provide you a comprehensive guide discussion on the Seven Deadly Sins day one release. And what I am going to do is I'm going to talk through this whole topic, like from beginning to end. So here is the actual agenda. What I did back in the day, which wasn't too long ago, was I would put chapters down there in the video. I'm not doing that anymore. I want to say I don't care. I know there's people that watch the video for a few minutes. And then there's the other side where there's people that watch the entire thing. So for me personally, I know I am just going to cater to myself, which is I'm not going to do it. So here's the topics. You can bounce around the video if you want. I know a lot of people that have commented to me, sent me emails, and even just looking at my analytics, there is a good number of people, I would say more than half, that actually just leave the entire video on and just use it as like a podcast. Maybe they'll look at the screen. I don't know if they look at the screen, but that's what they do with it. So I'm going that direction. Again, if you want to see what I'm talking about, you want to bounce around in the video, feel free. Release date, review product. We're going to look at some cards, talk about some anime, talk about set two, talk about the player tournament, the drop rate in the booster box case, signs, unsigns, supply and pricing. Is it profitable? Final thoughts. And the bottom one, I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. It's gonna depend on how I feel when I do this video. As I'm doing this video, actually, this is a controversial topic about what's been happening all week, so not sure. Since I don't edit my videos out, I just have to feel it if I want to do it. So let's just talk about it. So release. What we got product wise, right? We got today is the release date, so we got booster boxes. Ooh, it's nice and fancy. It actually is a really really nice box. Again, I love these Weiss boxes because when you get these boxes, right, they got pictures and stuff all over it, and it's all fancy and nice. I wish we got the Japanese version where I know Seven Deadly Sins didn't come out in Japan, but the Weiss boxes, right, are flatter. And then you got trial decks and fancy Elizabeth inside, hopefully. And then you also have supply sets, which I don't buy. I'm not one of those people that will buy supply sets, but what's inside of there is your deck case, card sleeves, and 5 booster packs. I think I saw them going for $35. The booster boxes I've seen now for 60, low end 60. And then trial decks, I think TCG Player has them for $22, something ridiculous. It's mind blowing. So you'll definitely want to get them at like 18. I'm not saying that, but I wouldn't want to wait till release day and get them at 22. That's for sure. So there also is a playmat, and the playmat was inside of the booster box cases, and there were 4 of them inside. So if you still didn't buy this yet, I'm not talking about the playmat itself. I'm talking about like if you didn't buy any product, there are stores and there are people that will give you the playmat if you buy 4 boxes. There was someone on Facebook, if you bought 3 boxes, they would give you a playmat. So just be on the lookout for that. Again, this is a change from how it was done with like a set like Kaguya. Kaguya had 1 playmat and a case, and normally people don't just give those away when you buy product from them. But for these, when they have 4 in a case, normally it's normal to see that people will give you a playmat if you buy 4, just to throw that in to get you to buy from them versus somebody else. Playmat's pretty nice. I like it. It looks really cool. It uses the whole length for the whole width, length, the whole everything for for the actual picture. You have other sets where that's not the case. I love the cards. I actually do. And my one of my favorite things about it is the uncommons. So listed here, shown here. It's their wanted posters. I just thought that was really cool that they had them in their wanted forms. And then here's some other characters. I think people are gonna go nuts for. I don't know why. I just thought I said Elizabeth or I said Diane, but I'm pretty sure I said Elizabeth or anything. Anyways. What do we got? So we got Elizabeth. I think people are gonna go nuts for this, for that SR version, try to buy it up. And Hawk. I love this version of Hawk right here. My face is blocking it. Sorry. Let me move me for a second. Let me make me smaller. There we go. You don't need to see me. You want to see Hawk. And then Gauther. And then you also have Elaine. That was season 1 was such a good watch. I enjoyed it a lot, and I just finished actually all of it. Which the anime was, I think, good overall. I felt like season 2 got slow. It was a little slow building, and then the next thing was that was going to happen. I'm not trying to give any spoilers away, so I'm kind of saying it that way, but no, it was a lot of fun. I get why people were pissed that Escanor was not showing up in this set because he was fun when you got to meet him first off. And then I hated the end. I hate the end when everything resolves. I'm gonna blanket say this, right? We all know that when shows end, like these ones where there's action fighting, they beat whoever they have to beat in the end, right? I always feel like there should be some after party or resolution, but in normal fashion, these kind of things just kind of end. It just stops. Like, whoa, we won, and it just kind of ends. But overall, I love the whole thing. I thought I heard there was a new season coming out, or at least it's confirmed that they're making a new season. So I'm really thrilled to see that come up. Overall, it was good. Again, I thought there were some slow parts. I'm not going to say this is like my top 10 anime. It definitely is not. So we'll see what the future holds. And there going to be a set 2? This is interesting. I thought about this one. Will there be a set 2? When you look back at all the other English exclusives, right? I don't believe we actually got one. If I'm wrong, you can tell me, but I don't think we ever got a set 2. And in this case, this set sold pretty well, right? It's popular. It would be different to see a set 2 pop out, but could it happen? Yeah, I could actually see that happen. I could see that happen because you'd be able to get people to buy more just because of Escanor, and also you didn't really get some other sign cards that they could have definitely thrown in there when it comes to the next season. So I feel like it's a possibility. It really just depends on what other English exclusives come out. And again, if they felt this did really well, which I think it did, just by how much supply of cards I'm seeing out there, I feel like it did really well, so I think it has a good chance. For me, I'm gonna guess yes, the set 2 is gonna come. I'm not. Will it be next year? I don't know, but it's got a strong chance. Okay, now that we've been through that, you got cards, you bought this stuff. What are you gonna do with it? Obviously, you're supposed to play with these things. So, Weiss Schwarz came out with on their Facebook. They probably did it on Twitter as well and all that stuff, but this has been known for a little bit of time. There is a 64-player online tournament that is on August 28th, which is, what day is that? That is a Saturday. Sweet. So you have it on a Saturday. And again, these times are Pacific time. The winner will receive a booster box and playmat for the 7 Deadly Sins, as well as be featured in the upcoming issue of our e-newsletter. Yay! I feel like there should be more prizes than that. I'm hoping that this is just literally the winner and they just didn't list them out. I didn't click on any this, but registration period opens, what day is that? Monday. It opens on Monday. If you try this form now, it's not going to work. I know in the past when you had to register, you had to also submit your deck list. So it just came out. People don't have the cards yet. They don't even know what deck they're going to play with, so it should be a fairly interesting time, I think, to try out and play a new deck. So again, here's the form, more info if you want to check it out, just check it out. I think it's pretty cool that they do that. Again, my hope is there's more prizes. I feel like there should have been something better for the winner. Just overall thought, just because it's like, if you're playing with a deck, right, you have to use a 7 Deadly Sins deck. So you already have the deck. You would have made it where you had all the cards you need, right? You're not going to walk in with one brainstorm. You're like, I can't afford the brainstorm. I'm just gonna buy one of them and just roll the dice on that. So that booster box in the end probably won't help you out. I feel like you would have all the cards you want, unless what they actually did here was like there's like a guaranteed SP inside of this booster box, then that would be good. Guarantee the SP. You can map your product. Weiss Schwarz, Bushy Road. You can map it, give us an SP box. And that's like giving you money. And then you have the playmat. Hopefully the playmat is stamped with something. But I feel like, and again, I feel like there should be a second, third, fourth place prize. Just something. You have supply sets and things like that. Okay. Now that we got play, so again, there's a tournament, but you need cards, right? You need cards. So you need to know the drop rate in the booster box in the case. So again, this is a standard box, this thing. There's no difference between this and Kaguya. There are 16 booster box per case. You will have 20 packs per booster box. And then you will have 5 double rares per box. And you'll also have 1 promo in said box. And what people have been finding out is there are 8 boxes that have 1 SR in it. You know, your special card, so 50% chance. 4 boxes with 1 SR, 1 triple rare, so 25%. There's 2 boxes with 2 SR, so 12.5%. And 2 boxes with an SR and 1 SP, 12.5%. Yeah, this could change. I feel like this is the actual correct number. But again, there might be some weird stuff out there. Maybe this is all wrong, but this is what we're seeing. The 2 SPs has definitely been verified at this point because people are upset. But at the same time, reminder, this has happened before. I know when this one came out, I said that most likely there's going to be 2 SPs inside of this. This is a English exclusive. It's been done before. You can see it right here. Batman Ninja and Adventure Time both had the same thing happen. 3 SPs inside of Cardcaptor Sakura and Mob Psycho. So it was a 50-50 shot. I don't know how they come up with this, but that's how it happens. So 50-50. And we got signs or not the signs, and people were upset too because they were like, oh, I thought we only had 4 SPs. There's actually 6, and what ended up happening was Bond and Hawk both had non-signed cards. They're just these things, these stamps, quote stamps. And when people are like, this is we've been bamboozled. They actually said they were bamboozled on this whole 2 SP thing, but again, this happened before. And this isn't the first time this happened with English exclusives. You could see that with Adventure Time. You could see that with Mob Psycho. You could see that with Batman Ninja. Cardcaptor Sakura didn't have that happen, but it's happened before in the past, and I don't know. I think it's just people forgot, or people weren't paying attention, or people just didn't care about these back then, and 7 Deadly Sins was the one they cared about more, and having these 2 characters not have signs, I feel like people didn't want King. If you would have moved Bond or Hawk up, that would have been better. I would have personally liked to have Hawk with a sign card. I thought that would have been cool, but that's how it works out. Like, not all English exclusive have all signed cards. It has nothing to do, well, we don't know why, right? We don't know why. In my head, what I'm guessing is, and again, it's just a guess, so it could just be stupid, but they realize, as in the company, Weiss Schwarz, Bushy Road, you don't have to pay for all the signs, right? People are going to buy these things. They're not going to care. If you had this thing right here, Elizabeth, not thing, but if you had Elizabeth without the sign, or Deanne with the sign, it'd be a little upsetting. I love the rabbit actually. Now that I have see that, I love the rabbit. So good, but you don't need it because people will still buy this thing, and I think that's the trick, right? If you give if you give the people some signs, it's better than no signs. So people will still buy it. They'll love it as long as it's the majority favorite character. Then it'll be okay. And in this case, it was okay, right? People hated on it when they found out about this, but then if you look at everybody today, like, oh my God, Elizabeth. There we are. In the trial deck, not to be forgotten, is we got one Elizabeth here, and then we got some triple rares. Who cares? Everyone's still Elizabeth, right? This is the one you're aiming for. If you're opening a trial deck looking for some shiny card, this is the one. And the prices reflect that. So now we're on kind of the money side, the talk about money and all that. So if you don't want to hear this, this is your time to go. Because that was just like the general stuff. Now we're on to the play sets. So play sets, again, for the people that don't know, because I still get questions on this. A play set is 4 of every common, uncommon, rare, double rare, common, climax rare. And those are your non-foily cards, the ones that you actually need to play with. The sign cards and these triple rares, these are based on cards that were already there in non-foil version. So these are your non-foil version cards, everything you need to play with. Some of the play sets include one promo card. That's not everybody, not every seller does that. So if you do want one, just check out and make sure or ask the seller if that's included. I've been seeing play sets ranging 275 to 300. This is not the trial deck one. This is mainly just the ones from the booster box, right? The 275 to 300. If you want a trial deck play set, which is two of these things, right, 2 of these boxes, that's normally can be added onto your order for $25 to $30. Depends on the person again and how bad they want to get rid of it. So just so you know, again, just pointing this out, if you wanted to join that player tournament, the registration is 8/9 to 8/23. So you may want to buy the playset if you want to get into it. It's a little early on for people to figure out decks. People have ideas. And honestly, I wouldn't even tell people like what the real deck should be or what the best deck should be, because if you want to play in this tournament and win, then what's the point of that? Okay, so now we're on to SP pricing. This is when the good stuff happens. I was sitting there last night, well, actually all week, because people were opening this stuff early, pre-ordering it. This is my pre. Oh, I forgot the end quotes. Dang it. That is a not a professional job right there. I'm missing the quotes, the closing quotes. So SP prices. What can I say about SP prices? They're all over the place. They are freaking all over the place. So you have TCG Player. You have some people on Facebook pre-ordering this thing. And then you have a big website with their prices. And I just can't imagine what's going through people's minds pricing these things. But it's interesting. So again, TD Elizabeth, $500. And someone actually bought that on TCG Player for $400. I think the going rate for that Elizabeth will be around $400 in the beginning. Actually, I don't know if it's going to change all too much. It seems like anything Elizabeth is just going to be 300s to 400s, right? I think that's where it's going to eventually land. You'd see King. Nobody likes King. Even though he's a sign card, he's basically around 120 to 160. I feel like the pre-order one, the person that did that, nuts. So again, TCG Player, these sellers go with that. The Facebook pre-orders, the available this one goes with that one. The big site, I didn't write the number. It's a big site, so it's just how many they have. But anyways, this person opened 16 cases, and they had all of these. Unluckily for them, they pulled 7 kings and priced it at 120. They definitely undered a bunch of their sign cards for whatever reason. I think they were just trying to undercut or get rid of a few cards, but they ended up pricing it pretty low. Somewhere higher, right? You see Bond here at 130 on TCG. Theirs is 150. But you look at Deanne, she was 430 TCG, 318 on Big Site, pre-order 250. Pretty nuts. Even Elizabeth 300. I think definitely 300 is your low end. And then Hawk 120. Holy crap on the pre-order. I guess that's where you could say pre-orders, you're just taking that chance. You just try to get rid of it, but at least you guarantee your money. So, and Melodious is 220. Yeah, he's in the 200 range. So that's the that's the SP pricing. Again, what I'm trying to do when I talk about this is try to figure out a pattern here. So knowing what you see here, if you're looking for sign cards, you could always take that gamble on the Facebook pre-order because it seems like that's when you're gonna get the low prices, but it's not always guaranteed, right? So we have again Bond at 150 when TCG player 130, but for the most part, I think if you have a what should I say? What you think is a popular character, and something like this shows up, like the 300 or this TDSP for 350. That was pretty low. Like when I looked at it, I'm like, these numbers look kind of off because that's pretty low. But again, as you'll see when I talk about profit towards the end here, the reason why you do it is to lock in your profit. That's all that was happening here, right? This is a whole lot of risk, and that person was trying to minimize it. Would be my guess. I don't know for sure. I didn't talk to that person. It's just it's kind of like what would you do if you were in this situation? Okay, double rare pricing. Oh shoot, again, pro, not pro. So this release date obviously is not right. It came out on today, 8/6. I must have used, what came out on 6/25? Bofuri. I used my Bofuri sheet. Or is it Kaguya? Might have been Bofuri. This is Kaguya. Kaguya. Yeah, this is Kaguya. No, I don't know. Forget it. It doesn't matter what this was. The release date is wrong. Sorry. But what we have here is double rare pricing and mispricing. So I'm going to go over the double rare pricing, and then I'm going to talk about the mispricing, because to me, when I saw these numbers, I'm like, this isn't right. This right here, the first column would be your TCG player. Your second column is that big site that we were looking at before with the SP, same site. So the hard part about like pricing these things, and I go back to JKTCG. Remember JKTCG did a video on double rares. It's out there on YouTube. You could still watch it, or just even pricing of playsets. You know, and the way that it was priced, it was you have to figure out what are, since it's a playset and the value is $300, you had to figure out all your double rare prices. You know, like which one's going to be more heavily used in a set. You know, there might be ones that are used in like every deck. There might be some that are used in like a deck, potentially maybe in two decks. So you had to figure that out. You kind of had to work backwards into the 300 number. You know, reverse engineer that thing. So basically, when I took a look at these numbers, it didn't make sense to me. And I could pretty much guess why. But let's take a look. So big site and TCG player. When I look at these prices, first thing I started noticing is they like using the same number. And again, I am not disrespecting that site. I don't name the site again because I've talked about how I don't vouch for sites. It has nothing against them. I think they're actually really good people. So if I had to buy stuff and needed to trust somebody, I would definitely trust them. I have no issue trusting this big site at all. And again, I just don't name sites normally, so I'm not going to talk about it. I've done it in the past, but I'm not going to talk about it. So big site, I think you're great. And it's I almost feel like that there's a method to your numbering here. I feel like there is. It's not just a guess, but there's a bunch of mid-range ones here. We have these, and the weird part is it aligns to TCG, almost aligns to TCG player. There were some differences. And the weird part is back, again with JKTCG, they would try to figure out all these different ones, like which one would be used in a deck. And I think the hard part is, since this is a new set, nobody knows how to use it, that the pricing came out this way because of that. And I don't necessarily agree with it. I feel where I'm going with this is it's under. It's definitely under. Like, I understand TCG players, so there's actually these numbers down here. And let me explain that. Yeah, okay. So, double rare average. We have a double rare average of 665, and this line here is a play set of double R's going for 266. With the big site, they have a $7.07 double rare average, coming out to be 283 for a double rare set. So again, when you look at buying a playset, 275 to 300, this again proves it. It's totally worth it in the first week. In the second week, it's pretty good. But what happens is, what I've seen with double rares, I know because I've been tracking it for freaking 3 months now. Dang, I've hit the 3 months. Felt like a long time. There's a 40% drop in price by week 2 or 3. Happens every time. It doesn't matter what set it is. It always happens. From what I've seen so far. We'll see in the future if that changes, but that's what always happens. So the misprice now is at 40%, it drops it to 160. At the big site price, it drops it to 170. What I see with Kaguya and what I see with Bofree is you normally have an 820 average. So again, this is a 665 average and a $7 average. Kaguya 820, Bofree 888. A normal play set of double R's is Kaguya 328 and 355 for Bofree. Right away, I see there's a problem here. There's a problem, and I can explain why TCG player is the way it is. TCG player is the way it is because people did have it up for higher prices. There was like a $10 card that got dropped all the way down to 5 something. So a lot of it has to do with the actual supply. But the other side of that is people don't know what cards to use. I can tell you for sure there is a card that is horribly mispriced. Again, this is coming from a guy that likes playing Magia Record for fun and not using meta decks. But I know there is a card that is sitting on this list that I am looking at right now that is not being valued for what it should be. It's just kind of nuts to me that I know it's going to be used and it's the price it's at. So you might say, why don't you just buy up all the cards? I can't because there's a billion supply, which is right here. Supply of double rares. What I said earlier about set 2, I can pretty much claim because a lot of boxes were sold. And I'm not saying like people bought these boxes. A lot of stores bought these boxes. I've told you already, people went all in. If you watched any videos, people have these boxes, but can't sell the play sets. If you look at the amount of play sets, if you look at the amount of supply of double rares, it's freaking nuts. Each column represents here one card, one double rare. So there's 4 double rares represented on this list. 92, 40, 90, 12, 136 of one card. There's one with 89 and 40. This is one seller, right? 136. Oh man, I can't believe again, I love when I do these videos beforehand because I like being proven correct. It's one of those ones where I told people, do not buy this looking to flip this sucker. Because again, it's all good and all that if you could sell these for these prices. But remember what I said, these things are going to drop 40%. Some of them. The majority are going to drop like 40, 50%. Like this one, Deanne, she might stay at like 13. So she's not going to drop 40%. Like the higher end cards, the more used cards are going to be stable. They're going to drop 25%. The lower end, they're going to drop pretty hard. But again, if you take it as a whole, it's going to hurt you on average wise. as in if you attempt to try to sell these, right? Like, yeah, you might have this overall, these might be your prices, and you could get 266 out of them, but that's if you could sell them all. And I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to sell them all, right? Because this guy with 136 or this person with 89 and 40, if people start undercutting him and that's cutting into his profit, you already know right away that dude is going to just change that number and be the low end, right? It's that quantity thing. If they could just sell the quantity, it's the Walmart stuff or the Costco. They got bulk. They need to sell it, and they're going to do everything to sell that. So that's the risk of the supply. But again, this proves my point about set two. If Bushy Road, Weiss Schwarz sees this, they might just go ahead with it because they were able to sell a ton of product. And if this 136, 90, 92, 89 over here actually all do sell, that's a pretty good sign that people are playing this game. If the 89, 136, 90, 40, 40, 92, they stay there for the next 3 months, really, really bad sign, right? Again, that just proves to me that people are trying to just open these, attempt to sell play sets, and attempt to sell these sign cards to try to make the most out of their money. So now you have the booster boxes, right? You have 26 people putting these things up at $66.69, which, by the way, if you didn't do the math, that is 66.69 times 0.87. And I know before I used $8 shipping. Let's just use 5. That's what you get in the end, $53. Again, how much are you buying your booster boxes for from a store or whatever? I don't know the distributor price. Maybe they get it at $50. Maybe they get it at $45. But I'm not going to fight for potentially $8 of profit. That seems like too much, especially if someone tries to rip you off. But again, what I'm pointing out here is this short-term stuff, everybody trying to buy in it and flip it, it's rough. And you could see that there's a lot of people that bought into it, because here's the other side of this if you didn't realize the date. Today is what, August 6th? This was supposed to be a July release, right? And when I think about it, what happened back then? We had Data Live come out. Data Live killed it, right? So you have to walk through this timeline with me. Data Live came out in March, and then we knew about a reprint, people ordering in April. And at the same time, that's about the time when Seven Deadly Sins was pre-ordering or getting into people's minds about buying it, right? Because the next thing was Magia Record, Bofuri, Kaguya, and then Seven Deadly Sins. And as you saw that, people were too late on Bofuri. So Bofuri had a low supply. That's why the booster boxes are in the 90s. Kaguya, people were able to buy into, right? People got into Kaguya, and as you see, there's a huge supply of Kaguya still left. It's starting to dwindle down, just so you know. If you didn't know, and you need Kaguya cards, you might want to buy them soon. And then now you have Seven Deadly Sins. So when you think about that timeline of when people started getting interested in the Weiss for an investment side, collecting side, it happened after Data Live, which this would have been, in between Kaguya and this was when people were getting it in that pre-order window. So this is not a surprise that Seven Deadly Sins has so much actual availability. Okay, now you're going to be like, is this still profitable? Yes, it is. It is. So going back to this, a case 850. I'm just guessing. I'm assuming you could get it at 850. So case 850. You can have a playset at $250, no TD. Again, what I've been seeing is $275, $300. If you need to sell your playset, if you made a playset thinking that you're going to get a playset, flip it, and take all the signs, there's a lot of people out there that are doing that. There are people that have playsets that can't sell them. Again, you could listen to videos. You could take a look at, because again, think about this. That guy that I had 136 of these 90s, 12s, 92s, 89s Couldn't he just have made a playset out of them? Yes, he could have. The problem is trying to sell it. Which is always the hard part, right? Selling these things. So you could easily make a playset about with the amount of quantity that he had. It's more of finding the buyers for them. So people that think they could still sell playsets at 300, yeah, you can, because some people maybe just want to prefer buying from you or whatever, but I guarantee if you drop this thing to 250, 225, you'll have some buyers. And even then, remember what I showed before. TCG player value of these double rares 266. So you're not getting as much value out of these at 300, right? Yeah, you get some uncommons, you get rares and all that, but again, what I've showed before, Kaguya double rares were 328, Bofuri 355, right? Way above what these current ones are today. So, and that's just for today. If you just wait 2 to 3 weeks and let it drop by 40%, geez, you're in the hundreds. So, can you still make money? Yeah, I mean, SP average, I get 238.88. This is off the big site. Again, this is hilarious to me, just because I'm a numbers guy. Like, there's coincidences and there's just happy accidents, and I feel is that the same thing? Did I just say the same? There are coincidences and things done on purpose. And I feel like on this one, this was no mistake. 318, 238, 150. This is like, these are your sucky cards, right? They're like, okay, these are your good cards. Your fairly good cards. They're in the middle here. They got... I was about to say signs or no signs, but King is signed and he's 159. He's on the low end. Bond, not signed. Hawk is not signed, but he's in the mid-range, right? And Melodious here is a sign. And then you got the two girls. What we always knew about cards, for the most part, if you're a girl, you're going to have a higher value. They have the higher value. When you do that average, I had to check this twice. This can't be right. But it was 238.88, which is somehow equal to the Hawk and Melodious. So that's literally what you did, right? I wish I could talk to you and just be like, did you do this on purpose? Low end, high end, middle, and you averaged out to the middle. Kind of cool. But in the end, what you have here is 977.76, again at the 250 place set pricing, and that's at you're getting 2 out of a case. Okay, so right there, you are already at 977.76. 977.76. And don't forget what you also have in there is 18 SRs. We got 4 triple rares for sale. You got 16 promos if you didn't include it in the play set. You have 6 if you did, because there's 10 promos in this set. So obviously 16 minus 10, 6. So overall, you're still making a bunch of money. And that is the reason why, again, I've said this right here, this pre-order, what this really was, right, was securing your profit. My guess again. Don't know the guy. All I can say is that's what I would do. You're not selling for max profit, but at the same time you're just trying to lock in your gains, which is better than having 20 cards sitting there that are potentially worth $200 that is not worth $200 because it's not money yet. So, final thoughts. There's my final thoughts. I think this is an awesome set. I think it's fun. I know people are saying this is kind of generic, but at the same time, it does look like a lot of fun. I'm one of those players that like to come out hard at the beginning, so this set is definitely really great at level 0. I think the level 1 wasn't all that great, but when you get to level 3, it should be fun with the Melodious, with the climax combo. It should have been full counter, right? Full counter. And then you have Elizabeth too. So I think overall, it's a really fun set to play. It'll be interesting to see the actual online tournament to see how many variations in the deck there could be. I almost wish that nobody would come out with a deck tech and just let people try to figure out what the best set is. I think that would be awesome. How cool would that be? Just be like an actual blind draft. You know, like if you were in a room and they gave you a box, what do you need? 8 boxes. I guess not 8 boxes. They just give you a play set. They, as in Weiss Schwarz, Bushy Road. Can you imagine joining a tournament and letting you play the next set? Like everybody has 3 hours to try to put a deck together. Look at the deck, play the deck, maybe try it out with a partner real quick to see what they can do with it. I think that would be just amazing to have in tournament form. So kind of stinks that these deck techs are coming out, just because I think it would just be cool to see the creativity in other people. When it comes to actual pricing, I think we're in for something amazing to watch. Because again, this is day one. This is day one, and I know double rares dropped 40%. I see what the booster price box prices are, and people don't even have. Some people don't have them yet. You know, some didn't pick it up from the store. Some didn't get it mailed. Again, this is the first official day that you can actually get them. So some people don't even have these things yet, and I know people are looking to buy this to flip it, right? So I think that's the wrong mentality to have. I've said it before in videos. I'm like, you should not be taking these boxes or cards with the intention of flipping them, just because there's not really a lot of profit in it. And if you get screwed over by one person, or if something happens, it gets lost in the mail, destroyed, whatever, you just basically blew what little profit you had. It kind of makes no sense to me when there's other things that you could probably do with your money investment wise. I just wouldn't do it. And you could see here there's plenty of people that have the same idea as you. So with the supply, it's just insane how much is out there. You know, again, I know this is a new set and the double rares were mispriced, but another part of it again was the fact there's people just trying to undercut each other, and it's just going to get worse week by week. I think you're going to put yourself in a bad spot. Some people that may buy a ton of this stuff, and you're just going to hate the game. I don't want you to hate the game. I want you to try this game out, enjoy it. If not, I would tell you to possibly move on, because if you think this set's going to be bad, like how many people bought into it, imagine what Data Bullet's going to look like. Imagine what Quince is going to look like. Imagine what HoloLive's going to look like. Ruby. I'm going to tell you, there's a ton of people that are going to buy into this stuff. And if you're going to look to make profit, the only way you're going to do that is if Bushy Road decides to print under what the demand actually is. Only way. And if they don't reprint, because we already know that with Data Live, when they reprinted it, prices just plummeted, right? So it's not going to be any prettier than this. The days of Weiss Schwarz being hidden and Moneymaker, again, I think are gone. It's just gone. Like the cat's out of the bag. It's a good game. It has special sign cards that people want to collect, and people were able to make money on it just because I guess people are too lazy to open boxes. But that's all coming to an end. That is definitely all coming to an end. If you can't see that yet, you know, just go back and look through these numbers, everything that I told you, right? So that was it. Oh, I actually do have one more thing. So if you don't want to hear this part, then you might want to leave. So all this week, I'm going to sit for this. Oh, my body hurts. It's been a long week. So this is the part where I'm just going to take it slow, because I didn't have this part planned out. It was the beginning part where I said another topic. Another topic. So you want, actually, I don't want to adjust my camera, so I'm going to kind of just sit up. So this is the part of the video where like 90%, actually it's like 80%. It's, you guys are crazy, the people that watch it all the way to the end. And like, I don't know if you want to listen to all this, but another topic. The other topic is the street date thing. So this one should be a good one. It might make people mad. So again, what I'm about to talk about is the street date. And my thoughts aren't really all clear on this one, so this might be the crap part of the video. Maybe you want to delete it from your mind, but I'm just going to talk about it. So there's this whole street date thing, which basically is stores get product from distributors, and they're not allowed to sell it or mail it out, whatever, until the day of release, which is today. So obviously, if you have a box today, that means you got it from a store. Okay, you got it from somewhere, but you still got it. If if you have it before today, then most likely you got it from a store or a distributor that decided to give it to you. Well, actually, let me take that back. A distributor sends out product to stores or sellers before release date so they could do whatever else that they need to inventory it, pack it up, get it ready, open it up, get it ready for people to actually have. Okay? So all week there was this whole talk about street date because some people were making YouTube videos, some people were taking pictures, some people were pre-ordering it. You also saw that on Reddit, right? Like there was a guy that had a sign card already, and then people telling him about street dates and all this stuff. I think the hard part is it's one of those ones where if a store sends you product, it's almost like a crime for the consumer to open it and put it on, right? Because when I look at this box, I thought there was a date on this thing. Is there a date on it? I remember before there's. Oh, it's on the trial deck displays. They actually have a date on this thing. But on the booster box itself, does it have a date? I also wanted to talk about this topic at the end so people wouldn't get totally pissed off that I'm talking about it. Because it's one of those ones where people get upset. I'm freaking thirsty. It's in 45 minutes. 46. But anyways, people get really mad at it, and I understand why. It's one of those ones where the whole explanation, right, is if you put it up, stores aren't supposed to send it to you yet, so you're not supposed to have it. So if Bushy Road finds out about it, they can go back at the store or distributor and have you cut off from actually getting products. So I understand that. It's a little bit early. What I saw during the week was like there was a store putting up pre-orders or like writing about pre-orders on Facebook. And people were like, oh, that store is okay because they're a store. You're allowed to pre-order. But these backpack sellers, they're not allowed to, they shouldn't be pre-ordering either because they're backpack sellers. I'm like, what's the difference? I have no idea what the difference is. I don't get it. Like if a distributor sells product to a store or backpack seller, those are still sellers, right? Like the seller is in the word. The only difference is the store part of it. And I get it, but how can you stop somebody that's like a gray area, right? There's a gray area. I mean, in the end, I think it comes down to Bushy again, stamping their foot down, being like, you know what, nobody should be doing this, or like being more clear about it, because that excuse that I heard that, well, that's a store and this is a backpack seller, that doesn't work. That doesn't jive with me. Like that doesn't make sense. That you could have, that you make an exception for a store and not a seller. And I'm not, if you've seen my videos, I'm not for backpack sellers, or I'm not saying they're the greatest for this game and growth. It's not a good thing. I've advised against it. So I'm not against stores. I'm just saying you can't have it both ways. You can't just say stores can pre-order, but the people that got it from distributors too can't do it. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, how would you even prevent that? Like, in the end, again, then realistically, then distributors shouldn't be selling to backpack sellers. And I know you'll say, exactly. And I'm like, okay, but they are. So, again, I don't see how that makes sense to me, where you could say, oh, stores can do it and backpack sellers aren't. They're both sellers in the end. And I get it. You don't want to be undercut by them, but if I showed you before this SP, the Facebook pre-order was from a store. Those were undercut numbers, right? Like, I don't know why you don't get mad at that. Those are freaking undercut numbers. Like that 120 on that Deanne 250, that's really low. Those are undercut numbers. They want to make sure Because no matter how good the SP is, right? No matter how good that SP is, only so many people want them. So if you are able to lock in that profit, lock in that buyer, you just canceled out one buyer from another person. So I don't get the whole logic here. My other thing is it's like I really am getting to the point where, and again, I am for the stores. I get it. My whole explanation is on this with the stores is stores want to have a bigger piece of the pie. I wrote it in my comments, like on that the one video that I did about stores and my message to the stores. And again, I know you do a lot for the community, right? You do a lot for the community. You try to grow the community, a player base. You give people a safe place to play at. So much you have to do. And at the same time, you don't get to reap the rewards for it, right? Like you have other people basically stealing potential customers from you and undercutting you. So you don't get to get as much money as you think you should. And again, I agree. I think you should have a bit more money. But at the same time, I think complaining about it too much is also hurting you. There's a limit, right? We need an awareness. There's a point where you get into you bring it up for awareness, and there's a point where people just kind of get annoyed at the fact that you keep complaining about it. So there's is there like an unspoken rule about jumping on the people's messages over and over and over again, just like making fun of their pricing for undercutting and all that? I get it. It's frustration. Again, what I'm telling you is, I understand. I'm on your side. I get it, but you are definitely not doing yourself any favors by constantly bringing it up over and over again and being bad mannered about it, because you drive away customers from that too with that kind of attitude. So there's a happy middle. It's one of those ones where remind people again, tell people, have a list of stores that are actually stores that you can buy from, you can play at, because there's still people always asking about like, is there a place to play in this area? And I think if you bring more awareness that way, that you have that, you bring it up over and over again, I think you'll be better off. But to constantly bring it up is not doing you any favors. Okay, so that's what I had to say. Okay, street date. That was my final thoughts. That was my final controversial thing. Street dates. I don't get it again. It's not the end of the world. I know some people will tell me different. I mean, if you're just being sent stuff, it's not your fault really. And people are just happy to have the product and open it. And I get it. It's one of those rules that shouldn't be broken, but at the same time, then that just means Bushing Road and Weiss Schwarz need to clamp down on their distributors and make sure that this isn't happening, because that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Stores and backpack sellers are all the same people. One has a physical location, one doesn't. And then how about online sellers too? So where do you throw them in there? Hopefully this is a lot of info. I love this set actually. I do like it. It's one of those ones where I can't wait to go back and look at it. You know, like when I open my boxes when I'm an old man and I look back at this and see all these wanted posters and Gowther with his head missing and Hawk and all that. I mean, it was a fun show, great series, nice looking playmat. So everything was really great. I hope there's gonna be season 2, and I'm excited to see what the net meta deck comes out to me. Again, I'm just actually really surprised at the double rare pricing, because for me personally, you could tell me I'm an idiot and like these prices look right to you, but to me they look wrong. There's definitely a card that is mispriced on this list, and like the surprising part to me, I think, about that big site is the fact that it almost fell in line with how TCG Player priced it. It's not all the same, right? But the way these kind of balanced out, it looks just about the same. And I would have thought they would have been different just because of who are responsible for that site, like just playing and figuring out what cards are actually good. But again, I can't speak for them. Maybe they feel like this actually makes sense. To me, it looks off. Anyways, hopefully you have a great weekend. See you around.